Hey, today I want to talk about something I get asked a lot, and it's how to maintain all your languages because I speak 7 languages at different levels, and it's really challenging to maintain all of them and not forget things that I've learned in the past. Honestly, I don't know what is easier to learn a new language or to maintain it because when you're studying, you always learn something new and that keeps you motivated. But when you already have the level that you need for your goals, it's really hard to keep going and to actually sit down and study. So I'm going to talk about some simple but not easy tips that I use for my languages. So the way I study languages is that I usually concentrate on one or two at a time, but never more because then your attention get dispersed and you can't really devote enough time to a language in order to make a significant change in your level and in order to make sure your studies are productive. And because of that, when I'm working on a new language or on an older language, the others are not a priority. So obviously, I lose something, I forget something, but there are some things that I do or try to do in order to still keep them activated in my brain and be able to use them if I just randomly need to use this language. So the first thing that I do is I try to incorporate this language that is not a priority or languages into my daily routine and link it to a commitment. So to give you some examples is I try to schedule meetings with my tandem partners regularly. Usually it's every week or sometimes it's twice a week, sometimes it's every fortnight. But I try to make sure that I do that regularly and I don't cancel those because this is something that helps me maintain the level that I have. Another thing that is really easy to do is to subscribe for a newsletter in your target language that is not a priority so that you regularly receive some readings, maybe some videos in that language, and you don't have to read it, but if it's something interesting or exciting for you, then the chances are you will read it. A more obvious thing to do is just to take classes because this is also something you usually do regularly and you are committed because you paid for it. But for me, taking classes is more like actual studying. However, if you take rare classes like once a week or bi-weekly, then it's more maintaining than actually improving your language. Second thing that I do to maintain my languages is entertainment in different languages. For example, I try to read, watch series, YouTube videos, whatever entertainment I use in the original language. Sometimes I even on purpose go and search for something in Spanish and French and Turkish so that I don't just watch a video or scroll some reels on Instagram, but I also do it in my target language that I don't have time to study, but at least I will remember some words or maybe learn a couple new words. So that's a really nice thing to do when you cannot prioritize some languages. Another thing that is also kind of entertainment for me is socializing. It works especially well if you have friends who are natives in your target languages so that you meet them from time to time and you ask them to speak their language with you or you text with them and just plan different activities where you can use the language that you want to maintain. If you don't have foreign friends, what you can do is just go on social media and follow bloggers and influencers that just speak this language that you need, and you just scroll through their content, and then this activity becomes less useless because you also are practicing your languages a little bit. Thing number 3 that I do to maintain my languages is to do usual things in a foreign language. So really simple tasks that you would usually do in your native language because that's the easiest and the fastest Instead, you put a little effort. Well, depending on your level, it might be a lot of effort, but it always pays off. So what you can do is, for example, write to-do lists in a foreign language, or write your diary in a foreign language. These ones are harder and they probably take more time. Sometimes you need to translate something, but if you're not in a rush, you can always do that, because it's really great for maintaining your language. Also, if you write gratitude lists, you can also do this in a foreign language. I used to do it alternating languages, like on Monday I would do it in Spanish, on Tuesday I would do it in German, etc. And it was really nice, because you're not only maintaining your language, but you're also making sure that things that happen in your daily life are reflected in your vocabulary. Because, like, if you write a gratitude list or a to-do list, you mention things that you do on a daily basis, and if you do it in a foreign language, then you will probably know all the words that you would use in your native language as well. So it's really useful. And tip number 4, which is probably the hardest one, is to study in a foreign language. And if your native language is not English, it's actually a great tip, because there's much more materials, courses, and whatever you want out there in English than in any other language probably. So if you want to study anything, it's much easier to find stuff in English, so that you not just learn stuff, but you also practice your English. However, specific topics or skills can be more accessible in another language. For example, right now I'm working on music production, and depending on a style that I wanna write, sometimes it's much easier to find study materials in Spanish than in English. And this is also helpful because I get to practice the language that is not a priority right now for me. I think that's it. Those are the main things that I do to maintain my languages. Obviously, I don't do all of those. I don't do them every day. Sometimes I get tired and I just do everything in my native language, because that's the fastest and the easiest. But when I do have energy and I do have capacity to also think about languages that are not a priority for me right now, I try to incorporate those and make sure I also dedicate a little bit of time to those other languages, so that they are ready when I need to use them, and that they don't get too rusty while I concentrate on something else. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye!